What's up everyone, it's Andrew Mayer here, and today I'm going to be going over entity relationship diagrams, and they're used for creating a strong database. Entity relationship diagrams are used as a high-level database design tool to be able to visually see how data is related in a database. Entity relationship diagrams are also used to plan out the data scheme in tables and databases. You're able to visually see everything, so you're able to have a better idea of how your data is going to be related within a database. The first main component of an entity relationship diagram are entities, and entities are person, places, or things that all have attributes and are related to other entities. The entities are really the key component of entity relationship diagrams, because entities are what form the different tables that are going to be related to each other in a database. All right, so let's take a look at our first entity here. We have person. So you can see that the entities are highlighted in orange, the attributes are highlighted in green, and the relationships are highlighted in blue. You can see some of these attributes have a red highlight around them. Those attributes are what are called the primary key, and the primary key is a unique identifier for your entity. So it's an attribute that separates your one entity from another entity. Next, we're going to be talking about relationships. The relationships in this entity relationship diagram are highlighted in blue, and the relationships between entities are really what gives databases the power. It intertwines your data and allows your data to be queried in a more effective way. So these relationships carry what are called foreign keys, and foreign keys show the relation to other entities because foreign keys of one entity are the primary keys of another entity. So you're able to identify other elements of an entity through the foreign keys and the relationships between them. So primary keys and other attributes make up what's called a tuple. And a tuple is a sequence of elements that belong to the same entity. Tuples are a little bit lower level diagram of a database, but basically tuples will show you how your data is going to be stored within the database. So if we take a look at this entity relationship diagram, basically what we're looking at is a diagram for a web application that would be used to determine somebody's risk for contracting the coronavirus. So you can see that the entities we have are person, geographic location, occupation, behavior, and hospitals, and each of these entities are linked to a bunch of different attributes, different pieces of data that will be stored in our database to help come out with an overall risk, which will be the output for this web application. Alright, so as you can see in this tuple for person entity, we have primary key, which would be the universally unique user identifier. We didn't want to track people's identity in this situation, so we decided to go up with a universally unique user identifier, and that's what will reference the person. So that would be our primary key for the person entity, but the person entity also has township, employer, and behavior risk levels, which are foreign keys or primary keys for other entities. So as you can see, what would be a foreign key for person ends up being a primary key for location. For example, the address, we have small town Pennsylvania being a foreign key, but that references the primary key of small town Pennsylvania, which is a specific location that's identified in the location. So like I said, these along with other attributes make up a tuple, which is that sequence of elements that belong to the same entity and are all linked together. Alright, one last thing that we're going to talk about is called cardinality. And cardinality is the numerical relationship between rows of one table and rows of another. So in the entity relationship diagram, these are represented by ones and n's. So if we look at the relationship between the person entity and the geographic location entity, you can see, and it would make sense, that a person can only live in one geographic location. Thus, the cardinality from person to geographic location is single cardinality. However, a geographic location can have multiple people living in it. So there is multiple cardinality between geographic location to person. When we take a look at our table, you can see that person, there is only one geographic location listed in that tuple. However, when we go over to the location table, a specific geographic location, technically multiple people could have that specific geographic location in their tuple. Alright everybody, that's all I have on entity relationship diagrams. Make sure you check out my article on this on dev.to. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.